Welcome to Travel Massive, promoting North Carolina tourism. It's run by Travel Massive Raleigh. We specifically invited, Raleigh and Charlotte members and opened it up to anybody who wanted to come. I'm admitting more people as we speak. And I think one of the really nice things that coronavirus has done is enabled us to do this online, which means that a lot of people that I see are in the room who live a little further out than the active chapters of Travel Massive in Raleigh. Sorry, I say that because Charlotte's looking for a chapter leader if anybody wants to raise their hand for it. But anyway, it's really nice that it kind of brings us all together no matter where you are, and everybody loves being able to do this from the comfort of their homes with a cocktail or coffee, whatever your poison. So we have 4 experts here. Super grateful for it. I'll probably say it 4 more times because I am. So I'm just going to run through a little bit about each panelist. And if you want to unmute yourselves and say hi as we kind of go through it, you are more than welcome to. And if at any point you guys are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she has no idea how to run this meeting, but you know something about Zoom that I don't know, feel free to put it in the chat because any guidance is welcome. Like for instance, I see Craig right now. Hi, Craig and Kaz. Love them. They are also in Raleigh. Like I see his name up, but not his picture. So, which is fine. You guys can show me your faces or not, but anyway, hopefully you guys can see me. Okay, so it's about 5:09 on time for 5:10. I was telling the panelists before everybody got in here that I am a stickler for time and being respectful of everybody's time. So we're gonna do some questions, and if you have questions for them as we're talking, feel free to pop it in the chat. You can also do the questions Q&A that goes directly to me, I believe, but I am in the chat. Just make sure you're sending it to either me or everybody. And if you have any questions at the end, we'll leave some time for that. We're aiming to end around 6 o'clock. So again, want to be respectful of everybody's time, especially if you have other plans after this. It's my uncle's birthday, so that's at 7 o'clock with wine. Okay, so we have Whit Tuttle, who is Director of Visit North Carolina, and Kristen Baughman, who's the founder of Tabletop Media Group, Jason Frye, who is journalist and author. And we also have Russ Jones. So don't want to make this boring, and it's not. So really quickly, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each panelist because I think it just drives the point home that we have a really great panel of professionals who are both the front line, so to speak, of dealing with the pandemic for their businesses. So Whit was named Director of Visit North Carolina in November 2013. It is a division of Economic Development Partnership in North Carolina. He oversees the strategic planning, policy development, and marketing initiatives for North Carolina's official state tourism office and the industry sectors it serves. His experience in the industry spans over 25 years, and he's been with North Carolina Tourism overall since 2006. He has served as a chair of the board of directors of Travel South USA, if anybody knows what that is. I do, so I thought that was super interesting, and serves on the board of the U.S. Travel Association. Where are you? There you are. Say hey.
Hey, I'm here. Happy to be here. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I've been doing a lot of these, so I basically stole the step and repeat from the office and tacked it up to the wall in my little man cave.
I love it. Okay, awesome. And then Kristen is the founder of Tabletop Media Group, which is a full-service media agency specializing in food, beverage, agriculture, and lifestyle industries. She is a native of North Carolina and graduated from NC State and worked at the North Carolina Department of Agriculture after she graduated. So, Kristen, where are you?
I'm gonna unmute myself.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I feel like I wrote this wrong.
Here you go.
Okay. So now it's defunct, but Got to Be North Carolina competition dining series. I'm good friends with Kristen, so I kind of know her story a little bit in the background. One of the things that really impressed me about Kristen is kind of the writing and everything. She started on kind of farm to table movement and supported North Carolina farmers before it was even like a trendy, cool thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then in 2016, she launched Tabletop Media Group. It's based in the Triangle area. They represent businesses, restaurants, hotels, and everything. Many names you know and love, like Whiskey Kitchen is one that we have been going to a lot because it's across the street from us. So Kristen also travels a lot. She's passionate about travel and experiencing the world, especially with her husband Zane and their fur babies. She's been to more than 30 countries to explore different cultures and food around the world. And in her free time, you can find her relaxing with the dogs, Cheerwine, which everybody, if you're not from North Carolina and you're on the call, Cheerwine is a North Carolina drink, non-alcoholic, berry flavored. Anyway, and she lives in Warrenton, North Carolina in farm living. So if you guys follow her on Instagram at all, you'll see their Green Acres life, which I love.
You'll see the donkey for sure. He's
oh yeah,
very
they have
popular.
a pet donkey too. Thank you. Okay, so Jason Frye is travel and food writer from Wilmington, North Carolina. After earning his Master's of Fine Arts and Creative Writing from UNC Wilmington in 2005, he began exploring North Carolina through the lens of a poet, journalist, barbecue judge, culinary critic, and travel writer. His work and photography have appeared in Our State, Salt, Southern Living, Coastal Living, Dallas Morning News, Raleigh News and Observer, Charlotte Observer, AAA Go, and AAA Traveler. Visit nc.com, Thrillist, and moon.com, among others. He is the author of very impressive and admirable 14 print travel guides, including the Moon, North Carolina guide that just came out, right? Is that the one that just came out?
Moon, North Carolina came out last year. Moon, Great Smoky Mountains National Park just came out this week.
Okay, thank you. Moon Spotlight on Asheville, Moon, Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Moon, Blue Ridge Parkway Road Trip, and his most recent book, Smoky Mountains. See, if I really just read a sentence ahead, Jason, hit the shelves in April 2020. You can follow his travels and plate-by-plate dining adventures on Instagram. He is at Bearded Writer. Hi, Jason.
Hi. It was this time last year we were in Amsterdam parting ways, I think.
I know. We were on a river cruise together. Yeah. Times have changed.
They have. But I think we all hope that they'll be back soon. Sooner than later.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about that with you guys. And then we also have Russ Jones of Loden Properties, and they own the Longleaf Hotel. Russ Jones is a partner at Loden Properties, a hospitality, retail, and mixed-use real estate development firm in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's been involved in real estate for the majority of his career and has an extensive background in hospitality development and management. Loden Properties, whose name was inspired by the magnetic lodestone and guiding lodestar, aims to work closely with their management division that's called Davidson and Jones Hotel Corporation. And I think that's really interesting because they assist in the operation of some other hotels, including in Durham, like the Sheraton Imperial Hotel and Convention Center, the Loft downtown Durham, which is that American Tobacco campus that you guys are probably familiar with if you've been over in Durham in that neck of the woods, especially to see the Durham Bulls. The soon to open Hampton Inn and Suites in Midtown Raleigh, and of course the Longleaf Hotel and Lounge, which is both a landmark and destination. It's the first independent boutique hotel in downtown Raleigh. It opened earlier this year in mid-January, and it's a renovated 56-room mid-century modern style hotel that pays homage to its design roots while celebrating the longleaf pine and a unique North Carolina aesthetic. Russ, where are you?
Right here.
Yay! And he's got the Longleaf Hotel behind him in his background. And I was telling him before that I'm obsessed with this hotel. It's only a walk away from where my husband Dan and I live in downtown Raleigh, and it is really rad. So if you have
and
not,
you guys did a really nice write up too. So
thank
we
you.
appreciate that.
We are very into it. So even if you go to like enjoy a drink at the bar, and some deviled eggs, my personal favorite.
Same.
Really awesome. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. And our first question, and we're just going to go through each panelist so everybody can kind of give their feedback and opinions at the same time for each question. How has the pandemic affected your business or company so far, and what has been the most challenging for you? So we'll go Whit, Kristen, Jason, Russ. So Whit.
Okay.
For Visit North Carolina.
Yeah. So my business essentially is the state's tourism industry. That's a $26 billion industry that employs about 500,000 people across the state. And the impact has been severe. It's like we've run into a brick wall. I'll give you an example. North Carolina last year, visitors were spending about $500 million a day in North Carolina, per week. And this year it's 79 million. So we're about 85% drop. The way our research people figure it, we've lost about $2.2 billion in spending right now, which translates to about $100 million in state and local tax revenue. And the hardest part about this, I think, is the unemployment, is seeing people, tourism is a group of small businesses, is all small businesses, 45,000 small businesses in the state. And just seeing these people that have built these businesses with their hands, seeing them getting taken away is just hard to deal with.
Yeah. I like the hard numbers really puts it into perspective. Kristen?
And thank you
How
for
has the
sharing.
pandemic affected your business? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say thank you for sharing that way. I hadn't heard those numbers exactly. I'd seen a couple things that you guys have released, but those are quite startling and kind of segues into what I was going to talk about too from my standpoint. So at Tabletop, we primarily work, as Mikkel said, with food, beverage, ag, and lifestyle businesses. So literally overnight, once the stay-at-home order went into place, some of our clients immediately stopped doing business. And so that was really tough for us. I think I had a call with you, Mikkel, and one of our other friends. Was it like the day after that, maybe?
It was pretty soon.
Yeah, it was pretty soon after. And I was just like freaking out because, our company, we ended up having, almost half of our contracts put on pause. And that's a heavy hit for a really small business. And, I was like, how am I going to meet payroll? And just, it left me kind of scrambling. And so we just put our thinking caps on and, pushed forward. But a lot of our clients had to change their business models literally overnight. So many of our restaurant clients had to go towards, delivery, and they've never even done that before. And I see Shanna is on the call from our team too. So she helps to design websites and e-commerce. And so that's something that we've had to get quite creative with a few of our clients. So definitely had to develop and hone in on some kind of interesting e-commerce platforms that we built for clients. And that's really how they've been able to stay afloat, is by doing that delivery and takeout if they're a restaurant.
Yeah. And then Jason, how has your business changed, and what challenges have you kind of encountered? You came out with a book during this, so.
I came out with a book at the exact right time. As a travel and food writer, exactly what Whit and Kristen were saying is hitting me. I don't have these small businesses to go to and research for my travel guidebook. I don't have these mom and pops to go get to know, to pitch a story about. I don't have the restaurants that Kristen represents to go to and eat and find that great story about this, heirloom bean or something that someone is growing. I saw a precipitous drop off in business as outlets, regular outlets that I write for either closed, or they went on pause themselves, or they've gone to, bi-monthly publications. That's rough when you're a small business. That's mine, a small business serving small businesses. It's really hard, but I think that on the writing side, one of the things I'm seeing among the freelancers that I know across the country, really, writing is such a solitary practice, and it's thankless at times. And as all of us are going through these things and looking at our state unemployments and finally having unemployment offices, open up to the freelance roles, It's having to quantify exactly what we do is a little bit humbling, I think, for some of us. And I think that it's going to lead to some business practice changes for many of us.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, that it forces you to look at some processes and, I mean, everything from even invoicing to your contact lists and everything. So, yeah.
Well, as Kristen touched on there, they had to get creative to, to be able to service some of their clients, to keep their clients in business. And I think that ultimately we'll see creative solutions to some of these problems, and the more creative the solution, I think the better the outcome for a lot of us.
Yeah. And Russ, how has this affected, if you want to speak towards low-end properties in general, or Longleaf Hotel, or maybe it's all the same or all really different? You're the expert, so love to hear.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's been a challenge. Yeah, I mean, I think across all of our hotels, our roles changed from, what do we do to drive revenue, to what do we do to try and save our payroll, and so we became experts. We created positions we never would have imagined we would create. Like, we have a PPP czar position now, somebody whose job it is just to go out and make sure that we apply for, and then now, because we've gotten PPP funding, now our job is to make sure that we comply and have fingers crossed that when 8 weeks is out, that we actually still have something for people to come back to. So, right now we're still not open. We're not open at any of the hotels, but we are at the Longleaf specifically. We were basically open for 8 weeks, not quite. So in some ways that's a really unfortunate thing. And in other ways, it's allowed us to say, hey, we had a chance to open something for 8 weeks. Now, what are the things you would have, what are the things you would have done differently if somebody said, all right, you get to close and fix everything. What are you going to do? So we've been working a lot on our practices and just kind of ways that we can better serve our guests when we're able to.
I think another interesting thing about hotels is that they're booked further in advance. And of course, I'm sure, not that I pretend to know behind the scenes what this looks like for WIB with Visit North Carolina, but there's some forecasting and everything. But you guys, I know people do room blocks for events and everything, the convention centers downtown. So have you felt like a direct shift in how you've had to deal with those reservations?
Yeah, I mean, you essentially got group sales managers at different properties their roles are now just trying to hang on to business instead, and or when people are canceling, then we're processing refunds. But it always starts with, all right, where can we push you out to? And for a lot of these groups, I mean, it's kind of a story of the progression of this pandemic. It was, okay, let's push out to May, and then now let's push out to June. And now it's like, okay, July is nobody's comfortable then either. We've got a couple of different groups at like Sheraton Imperial's got some larger groups that are still on the books in July. That's really nice. But I think for all practical purposes, you're looking towards the fall right now.
Have you found any one thing to be successful to convince people to just delay instead of cancel?
For the most part, people really want to get together. So, I mean, if someone's dead set on canceling, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. For the most part, for a good example would be for Duke's graduation. That's hotels make their money in 2 or 3 months of the year. And of course, this pandemic hits us right in those months when we typically make good money. And the Duke graduation weekend is a good example. And those are people who may not ever need that. But for the most part, what we'd say is, let's just hold your reservation until that graduation has been rescheduled. That works for a little while. And then who knows? I actually don't know if Duke's having a graduation at all. So it's a process. You definitely want to, we're in the business of filling up as many weekends and weeks as we can with business. So, right now our booking in the fall looks pretty solid across the border, but across the table, but it's hard to say.
Yeah. The graduation aspect is something I did not think about. I have no connection to universities anymore. But I'm just curious if you guys want to put in the comments if you had thought about that at all. And I think it's a really interesting perspective. Even though I am long gone from college, it definitely affects tourism in North Carolina too. In every regard, they're not coming here to, see their kids graduate or family members, and then they're not spending money at restaurants. And anyway, so I think that's really interesting. So I'm just curious if you guys put a yes or no if you had considered that before. I'm just kind of curious.
To jump on what Russ was saying,
Yeah.
that is one of the big things that impacts us here in Wilmington, because we're not only a beach town, but we're a university town. And so Mother's Day weekend, graduation weekend, and a great beach weekend always fall on the same weekend. And this year they fall on nothing. And so it's going to hit, as Whit was saying, all these small businesses, all these little restaurants and bars and these little hotels and beach motels. They're taking a real hit. Like Russ said, you make your money in a few months. And so you're going to see a real hit on some of these folks.
Yeah. So let's kind of pivot exactly what you said into have you guys seen anything that has positively impacted businesses, whether yours directly, especially because most people in this call and shared Zoom meeting are in a lot of the tourism sectors that we're all in. So I think it would be really helpful if you guys can kind of speak to that. Whit, maybe we'll start with you, and just if you've seen anything that's been really successful in helping, advice for peers in similar industries or anything, whether it's messaging or a way to generate income and sales or anything online.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we, as soon as this hit, we paused all our advertising. We paused everything at first just to get a feel for where people were. And we're doing weekly research on consumer mindset. And one of the first things we went back and did is we started doing just organic social. And we didn't want to, we knew people didn't want to get sold. They didn't want to, feel like somebody was selling them something. So we just did kind of what we called a higher level posts. We talked about the great things in North Carolina, great stories that somebody left somebody a $200 tip, a company that pivoted and started making personal protective gear as opposed to something else. And I think that's really helped. We've gotten some of the best engagement we've ever gotten on those posts. And it's keeping us, the brand of North Carolina in people's minds and kind of holding on to them until we can get to the point where we can market to them and they can travel again. So that's been very beneficial for us. We've retooled our website. We've put up a whole thing that's North Carolina from Home that's all about virtual visits, places that are open, things you can buy to support arts and crafts and shops and North Carolina beer, that kind of stuff. So we've done a lot of pivoting like that to try and help people stay afloat. We've done a bunch of webinars. We've worked with other parts of the Economic Development Partnership to have people come in and talk about the PPP, the CARES Act, EIDL loans from other places, anything we can do to help people stay in business. So we're communicating a lot with people, and I think that's the way we can help the best.
Is there a particular hashtag that you are encouraging people to use right now for social media?
No, we've just gone with the hashtag #VisitNC. Now, once we think we're through this, we're talking about a couple of things that may wind up having a hashtag, including sort of a COVID safe certification program for people once we try and get people traveling again.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Kristen, what have been some positive things to come out of this and ways that you guys have pivoted for Tabletop and also helped the businesses that you guide and do social media and PR and such for?
For sure. So one thing that I know I'm really passionate about is just helping other small businesses. And so it was really neat. I actually was approached by the Vance Granville Community College, and then where I live in Warren County, the Economic Development Commission. And so we were able to all collaborate on a really cool series. Actually just taught the last class this morning. It was called Doing Business Remotely. And, I have a virtual team at Tabletop already before COVID-19 hit. And so it was really great for me to be able to bring some of those skills, like teaching people how to use Zoom, for instance, or playing virtual games, doing team building activities. And so it was really cool to be able to just disseminate that information to other small business owners. So that was one really great thing that's kind of come out of this. And then the second thing, and I'm so happy that Shanna's on the call too, we were able to build literally a grocery store for one of our clients overnight. And so it's the restaurant Koan in Cary, and then their sister restaurant Soka at Cameron Village also has like a mini grocery store now that they're calling the Bodega. And so that was something really great that kind of came out of this. And Koan was like one of the first places to announce that they had toilet paper for sale. And they've been able to just like really help so many people in their community to get groceries in a safe way.
I just typed in the chat to everybody, Soka in Cameron Village, which is in Raleigh, and Koan in Cary, just in case you guys were wondering. And Kristen, if you want to add any of those websites and social media and anything to that, feel free to. Jason, anything positive that's come out of this and pivoting or new creative thinking?
Yeah, I think that one of the things Whit was saying about using social media to sort of deliver some of those top line messages, and then Nichole in the chat chimed in with the thought that social's key right now because it helps you remain top of mind. My book about Great Smoky Mountains National Park came out right in the middle of this. It's a terrible time for any book to come out, much less a travel guide, especially when the national parks are closed. We can't get on airplanes. There's nowhere to stay or eat when you're doing things. But I was guest on a podcast last week, Everybody's National Parks, and to promote that, I partnered with them to do a book giveaway, and I was more aggressive on my Instagram sharing Smoky Mountains content for the week leading up to that. And so that helped me grow some of my numbers on social, but also I saw several things got shares and they got sent back and forth to people, and people were tagging trails that I had, saving tabs on trails that I had done and things like that. So I was managing to use that messaging to hopefully get people excited about it, get people enthused about it. And when you can go out, get in the woods. We all need to be outside getting a little exercise. Why not go to the best national park that North Carolina shares with Tennessee?
Yeah, and if you guys do follow Jason or end up adding him after this, at Bearded Writer, BeardedWriter, we can pop that in the chat too.
Yeah,
him and Lauren, his wife Lauren, go on a lot of hikes, and it's like really encouraging for me, who doesn't love hiking. Every time I see them out somewhere amazing, for leisure or biz leisure. Write it off as an expense, any entry.
Oh, I'm a travel writer. Everything's an expense.
But it's really encouraging to see. And I think that's a really good point about podcasts because, as we're doing more Zoom meetings than ever before, I think this has given people time to be on other things that like listen to podcasts. Maybe if you're sick of TV at this point, like I know I've been popping in headphones when I'm in the kitchen cooking and everything and really enjoy listening to that stuff. So yeah, everybody look up Everybody's National Parks podcast for Jason. And then Russ.
Yeah.
Besides adding a czar to your company, which is great.
Well, right. I think I wouldn't say there's any specific business thing that we've been able to do, mostly because I feel like we've been going through this, and every day it's pretty important that as a team we refrain from making kind of permanent judgments about what everything's going to look like based on what we might be experiencing on a particular day. So, I think for us, it's really just been the team building and really understanding. You get to see who's really a leader in your organization, who's staying in touch with their team, who isn't, and then just really getting a chance to kind of work on the things that you otherwise never have time to work on, so that when things start to come back, then we're at tip-top shape. And I think we're starting to think about some of the things that have been talked about here on the social side, and we've been pretty quiet in general on social, mostly because it feels like there's enough out there right now that we didn't feel like we were really adding a voice to it. But we're now starting to think about that, right? Because now is the time for people to start thinking about, people are getting itchier and itchier by the day to do things. So now we do want to be top of mind with them.
Yeah. you wanna put those tips out there about the deviled eggs at the long leaf.
Right.
They pipe them to order, and I appreciate that.
That's right. And so that's the other thing. And so getting the opportunity to cross train people on different things that maybe they weren't doing before.
Right.
You've got people that are maybe just working the front desk before. Now they're also understanding how to work a coffee program. Everybody now understands the process to change out a room. So there can be a lot of really, really positive things. I think we all judge things pretty quickly as either good or bad. And sometimes you look back on something that was really terrible and you find really wonderful things that came out of that. There are going to be some really great things that come out of this. It's going to be a really slow slog to get out of it. But once we get out of it, I'm confident. And just, when we shut down our hotels, our message to all of our people was, this isn't about a closing. This is about something we have to do today. But from this day forward, our goal is what do we want to be when we reopen, right? This is our goal now, is on the reopening front. So it feels like we had those meetings maybe 3 years ago, because time tends to creep. But now it's starting to feel like we're getting closer to that. And so we're pumped.
Was your PPP czar somebody that was in a different role, kind of what you spoke to about an opportunity for people to learn different skills, or was it somebody you hired new with accounting?
No, that's somebody who's been with us. It was just more like, hey, you've been working in this particular role, and now you need to be. We need somebody to do this, and this is a role that we trust you to do. And so that it's actually been really, I think, for a lot of people, pretty empowering. I've had to learn how to delegate some things that otherwise I wouldn't have. So those are some skills I'm honing up. Got more time to hone skills than ever. Maybe read a book by Jason.
Yeah, exactly. They can't maybe go to the destinations Jason's writing about right now, but there's never been a better time to read about it and bookmark
right.
with Post-its and everything. So that's actually a really fair point. And also Nichole wanted to know from everybody with social media, is anybody utilizing an outlet like TikTok to market their new audiences at this time?
I've been so tempted by TikTok, but I've been avoiding it.
Yeah, I hear
That's
that.
Ditto for me.
Yeah.
I haven't yet. I feel like I need to, though, just because some of our friends in the media space are starting to use it. So probably should.
Are your clients asking you about it, Kristen? Or?
No, they're not.
No, okay.
They're like, we're staying off of that.
Yeah.
We're not even using a lot of Twitter. We're just using really Facebook and Instagram. My daughter has 100,000 followers on TikTok. So if I could find a way to monetize that, I would do something, but haven't yet. If anybody's got any ideas.
Yeah.
We've done nothing with it, but I'm really curious, Nichole, who is doing stuff with it and how are they using it?
This is the thing. Like, I have a teenage daughter and she has used it in the past. And I think what's going to happen is the people that are between 18 and 25, those people that have some disposable income, those people are if you need to reach those people, that's where they are. Like, they're not necessarily interested as much with Instagram and stuff. But I was going to say LinkedIn, which is kind of, old school, and it's where we're on there, like, looking for jobs and connecting with people. But people who have disposable income and people who have careers are on LinkedIn. They're looking for people to employ and whatever. And that's a great untapped social media outlet to reach people who are going to be making travel decisions, are going to be making convention decisions. It's a great place to drop in every now and then and share a link to something that's going on, or whatever. I've been on there almost every day, just connecting with new people and kind of seeing what's going on in the industry. So it's kind of something to think about.
Nichole, to that point, I have a client that's outside the travel space, and I'm fortunate to have her. She's in the beauty industry, and I do marketing work for her. And she's had a pretty high demand. She's a business consultant, so she's had a pretty high demand for materials to help her small business clients, be able to come back well. And that's a thing that we've been emphasizing in her materials, is to get onto LinkedIn, to find those networks, to post articles on there about, why this salon service or this spa service as opposed to that one, and really start to farm either those people that are going to come up and be your future stylists and spa technicians, or to make those connections that will help you do that. And I think that that's something that we can all do too. I mean, I've emailed back and forth with people off the Visit North Carolina team. I've spoken with folks from Asheville and Charlotte and Raleigh and Wilmington. I've talked with people from across the country, PR contacts. And I think that revitalizing those connections and the connections that we have with other writers, other photographers, other video people, I think that doing that is going to be one of the things that helps keep our sanity and helps us have a strong base to build on whenever we come out on the other side of this.
Yeah, and I think LinkedIn is a really good point. People kind of forget about it as social media because it's not, a feed like Instagram, and it's more, I would say, more widely used on people's computers than mobile. But we are into LinkedIn. We have a profile on LinkedIn. I would imagine people can set up an if this, then that action just to post on LinkedIn if they want to. So yeah, Nichole, that was an excellent point. So thanks for that reminder about what an amazing tool LinkedIn is. And yeah, to your point, I think people think of it as a little old school, but they've been doing amazing things. They have LinkedIn Learning. You can search by hashtag and everything, just like you can on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and everything. So yeah.
Can I chime in about
yeah, of course.
Social really quick too? And I just saw Kelly in your chat about using like the live experiences on Facebook and Instagram. And that's something that we've been doing a lot with our social media and PR clients, is encouraging them to go live and have it be like a regularly scheduled thing. And so one of our clients that is kind of like an old school client is Con Key. They're like the old school hibachi kind of style restaurants. And so we manage their social media, and we've been doing hibachi from your living room, and it is killing it. Like one of the videos I think had like almost 50,000 people were reached from it, just from like a 30-minute video. So I mean,
amazing.
It's so cool. And like the chefs are super funny. The hibachi chefs always like trying to throw shrimp in your mouth or whatever. And like, they're doing it all virtually. So it's kind of fun. So I would say like, definitely go live when you can. And I think it definitely goes a long way.
Kristen, can you add that social media link or their account to the chat so everybody can visit it.
For sure.
So I'm going to kind of combine two other questions. We've got 15 minutes left. So again, if you have any questions, pop them into chat. Don't be shy. But do you guys have any predictions on how or when the travel industry is going to come back? And is it going to come back and everybody's going to flock outside? Or are there any insight into any plans you have seen, whether in the hotel industry or buzz chatter from small businesses or with like a grander plan for Visit North Carolina, how everything's going to come back online and kind of what the thoughts are surrounding that right now? Let's start with Whit.
Sure, I can talk about us. I really think it's going to come back in fits and starts and phases. Things are going to open. People are going to flock to them. We're going to try and have everybody do it in an orderly way and do it the right way, but obviously it's probably not going to happen. We're going to have to pull back, open again. Different areas are going to be ready for it before other areas. In some places, the area is going to be ready and the residents aren't going to be ready. So to paraphrase from Bruce Springsteen, I think it's 2 steps up, 1 step back as we get open. And I think it's going to be a long time for things like events and festivals, concerts. It's going to be really a tricky thing to do, but we have to do it right. We have to do it. I've spent the last 3 weeks of my life working with the legislature and the governor's office and trying to put together a plan to get some recovery marketing dollars out there to do a campaign as soon as the time is right. And it's going to be competitive, and there are going to be fewer people that travel. People are scared. The research is showing that. And so I think we have to be able to get them over that fear and get them traveling again. And it's going to be a smaller pot of travelers we're picking from. They're going to be traveling regionally, not on planes. And everybody's going to want them. So we got to be out there quick and get them back.
I think ultimately, though, that's an advantage for a state like North Carolina. We have such a big drive market. I know that just from the Smokies book, I'm within an 8-hour drive of something like 40% of the population of the United States. And they see an astounding amount of drive traffic to that. And so I think that you will see that sort of that local and then regional and then interstate travel begin. And I think that we'll see it here on the coast before you see it there in Raleigh, because people want to get to the beach. They want that outdoor space. And so we'll be looking at, how does the Outer Banks handle their restaurant scene? What happens on Emerald Isle with hotels and short-term rentals? What happens in Wilmington with our brewery scene, which finally was getting its legs under it and getting a real solid running start after a couple of years? And what happens with those places when they're all running at diminished capacity? And so I think we'll see those, and from there it's going to bleed out into the cities, into Raleigh, Charlotte, into Asheville, into Winston-Salem, and then it will start to pick up in those smaller populations, the little rural spots.
Yeah, we're perfectly positioned geographically. From the brand perspective, we're perfectly positioned to capitalize once it starts going again. We just need to be able to have the dollars to market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested in just when restaurants feel like, or the restaurants that people care about in Raleigh and in downtown Raleigh, you know, how long is it going to take for people to get comfortable going to restaurants again? People come to Raleigh, they love coming to downtown Raleigh. Well, that was before all this happened, and now who wants to do that? And those are the people that would be staying with us. So if you're not just coming to Raleigh to rent a room at the Longleaf, that sounds great. But you're coming because you get to do all these other things too. And I'm also concerned about kind of the long-term hangover of stuff like this. Like Hilton put out some information on kind of changes they're making to their branded properties, and it's essentially turning hospitality into a hospital-like experience, which is not a world I'm looking forward to. I mean, you don't come to a hotel to guess whether someone is smiling at you behind their face mask. You want to see their smiles. And so hospitality and something like this virus, they just don't go together. And I'm really concerned that we're going to have we're going to have things in place well beyond this specific pandemic. It bothers me a little bit to think that we're going to be really scared as a global society, scared of our ability to fight disease, our own immune systems. So I think it's going to be, I agree with all these guys. I think drive-to markets are going to do better, but if you don't know that where you're driving has got anything going on, then why are you getting in your car?
Yeah, I think a good point about what Wid said about the COVID, businesses, or whatever, when I asked you about the hashtag, whatever COVID kind of approved businesses were coming back online, could be like a really good resource for people. And also, I wouldn't imagine, everybody is kind of like putting out extra messaging now about how things are sanitized and wiped down and disinfected. I'm sure that comes into play for a hotel as well. And then, kind of what you were saying about restaurants and destinations, and Russ, how you were kind of thinking about that. It's a good segue into Kristen, if you have any thoughts on that. And also, I know Tabletop Media is working, Kristen can speak more about this, but if it kind of helps, especially people, if you're in other pockets of North Carolina, or like I know Jenny said something about China coming back online. So check the chat, because she put her website in there, and I think, just like Jason was saying, for Wilmington and this area kind of being maybe a trendsetter is not the right word, but a model example for how things are coming back online. Jenny makes a really good point about how China's dealing with that right now. But yeah, Kristen, about the hub and kind of that concept too.
Sure. So I've been working with Jen Rice. Some of you guys might know her. She's also a freelance writer. I know Jason knows her. And then also Drew Smith, who is the chef at Koan. And the three of us are launching a very similar model. If you guys have heard of Carborough United, it's essentially a hub that they've developed in Carborough, and multiple restaurants, artisans, farmers come together. And it started off just one day a week in Carborough on Saturdays. And you would basically launch the menu on a Monday. People from your community could order from, 10 different local businesses and go to one area to pick up those 10 different products. So we're essentially launching this, but in Raleigh, and we're calling it Community Hub with a K, to go along with Koan's branding, since they're such an influential partner. And so we're currently looking for other potential people to partner with us, restaurant owners, to create family meals. So mainly restaurant owners are going to be creating those like take and heat meals that serve 2, 4, 5, 6 people. And then we're also looking for farmers within North Carolina really to participate, to create like produce boxes. And what you do is you'll order throughout the week, and then those chefs will get their quota. They get paid full price for their meals, goes directly back towards their bottom line, and same for the farmers. And so you'll come in your car, we'll have your license plate number written down. You literally just pop your trunk, your order is placed on your trunk. There's no contact at all. So it's something we're launching not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And please, 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 if you have anybody that you think would like to participate, let me know. We're really wanting to build this out to be something big.
So that's going online Saturday, May 9th. And
Yes.
Is there a website for that where people can kind of find out more information, whether you want to order from them or you want other information kind of to replicate this in your city?
Yes, so we are going to be having, it's through Toast. So for those of you that are in the restaurant industry, you might know the lingo, but Toast Tab. So they are actually giving us a free platform to use for online ordering for food, which is super cool. So they've been a big partner as well. And so we're currently integrating that, and it will be on kooncarry.com on their website. So it's going to be really great. I'll pop that into the chat as well. So be on the lookout for that. The website should go live to be ordering, I believe, on Monday, right before the hub. So whatever day that is, I don't have my calendar up in front of me.
This Monday?
Not the next Monday, I believe.
No, the next Monday. It's okay. It's the 4th. No, the 11th. The day after Mother's Day.
No, I'm sorry. It is this Monday, the 4th.
The 4th.
Yes, May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th. Yeah, perfect.
Star Wars. May the 4th. Easy to remember.
Yes.
And if anybody does know any farmers or restaurants that are interested in joining, can you also pop in how they get in touch with you?
Yes, I'm going to pop in my email address, and I put up the Koan Carry website. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We're going to launch the press release as well on Monday, and fingers crossed that we get in all the ordering systems put in place by Monday as well. I think we will.
And if anybody wants to know how to get in touch with any of the panelists or anything in this call, all you have to do is go to the event. You can always contact me and I can put you guys in touch, or contact directly through their profile. Anybody with a Travel Massive profile is able to connect with other people. And again, if you're in this meeting and you're not signed up, I'm not sure if anybody is. We have some guest members in there. It's free to sign up for Travel Massive. They don't pay me to say that. I just love Travel Massive, and I think it's great for connecting people. And it's another really good resource if you're in the travel industry. I know, like, I look up Travel Massive members in a location that I'm traveling to, just to find out cool things to do and everything. So if you are wondering how to get in touch with anybody here, definitely go to the event. If you guys want to pop in your info here, it's totally up to you. There's always a way. I don't want you guys to feel like, okay, but we don't know how to get in touch with these people. So they're here, they're at your disposal. And then just kind of a last question, if you guys can kind of go through any takeaways that you want to leave everybody with. I always like ending on a high note, but whatever you want to say. I mean, for me, I love coming together with you guys and hearing everybody's just openness and willingness to share information and being candid and having those hard conversations, but also like kind of messages of promise and what everybody's doing and how everybody's coming together. Reading books, listening to podcasts, coming together to do a hub. Like, I love all of that. Having a PPP czar. I mean, I never would have thought that this would come out of that, but it did. So that was really uplifting, Russ. So let's start with Whit. Any good takeaways on a final note?
Sure. You know, I think the amazing thing about this is, even though we're all sort of isolated, I feel closer and more together with our partners across the state than I ever have. I'm on webinars, you know, from dusk till dawn, it seems. But even just talking to people and getting emails I feel this connection we haven't had, even with the staff. It's interesting. I think we've learned, there are things we can do without being in the office. I think it's also shown us that there is a benefit, though, to being in the office and being together. I miss that. I've discovered some interesting things. I really love my house. I hadn't been here in a long time. I've been traveling so much. I like getting out on the Neuse River Trail and riding the bike anytime I want, which is nice. But I think the key is we have to be together on this coming out of it, and we've had incredible, I think, bipartisan support so far from our political world, which is a rare thing in this country these days. And we're going to need to be all together to come out of it. So, we've all got to pitch in, and I know there's sacrifices, and it's not going to be easy on restaurants or any businesses, but I think the key is we just have to hang together because it's so important that we all pitch in and do the right thing. And I think we will.
Yeah, thank you. Jason.
I think that for us writers on the call, I think that one of the things we need to remember is, even though we can't travel right now, and even though we can't get out to those restaurants, people are still consuming that content. And so I think that whenever we're doing things like looking for stories or thinking about what that next, spotlight piece on our blogs are going to be, I think it's important to look small, look little, look local, be very specific, and be hyper specific with them even. It's not just about going to this restaurant and having this dish. It's about the way they use this specific cornmeal to make their cornbread. And so how can that apply? And so it's looking smaller and more inward as opposed to looking at these big sort of grand sweeping pieces. And I think that those stories, we can find those stories, I've got a cabinet loaded with North Carolina products, and many of which Kristen has helped me procure. And so, I can go into the pantry right now and reach my hand in and come out with 5 story ideas. And I think that most of us writers are like that. So what are the places that you love in your town, and why do you love them? Who are the chefs and bartenders that you're admiring? Can you get a hold of them and get one technique that you can write about in a story? If you can look at those little things, we may not be able to draw in these visitors from out of the state or from out of the country, but I need a place to go in Cary. I need something to do in Winston-Salem. I need a place to go in Carolina Beach. And so if I can find those places and deliver that sort of content to people, then they'll have those resources as well.
And what better time to reach out to those people that, are making your cocktails when they're not physically making you the cocktail right now? They'd probably love to talk about their craft and be interviewed for something like that.
And they're pretty easy to get on the phone these days.
Exactly. Next Zoom webinar, we're going to look inside Jason Frye's cabinet and all of the North Carolina stuff that he has. I would watch that. Kristen, what are you thinking as final notes?
So one of the biggest takeaways from all of this is just the importance of being present. And I say that because, it's so easy to take relationships for granted sometimes. And, like every now and then, like go grab a drink with a friend or whatnot, and then you don't see them or really talk to them for another month. But it's been really great to actually just like check in with people, like give them a call out of the blue, or, like text them or do a video Zoom call like we're doing right now. But I had somebody kind of out of the blue just check in on me, and that really went a long way for me just personally and my mental sanity. And so I've been trying to do that for friends. And something else that's been kind of fun is I've been like sending some friends and my family members like random deliveries to their house. And that's been really cool. And then I require them to pay it forward to somebody else. And so I think that's just been something fun out of all of this. And it just makes you feel a lot closer to people, even when you're not physically there.
2 follow-up questions. 1, is the delivery anonymous? And then 2, what are you delivering?
So the delivery is not anonymous. For instance, I did one for my sister from Soka, the restaurant that has like a mini grocery store. And I just, randomly, I texted her, hey, you have to be home by 5 o'clock. And she's like, why? I'm like, you'll find out. And so they just like dropped off the food at her doorstep. And then I told her that she had to pay it forward to somebody. And so we ordered our parents dinner the next day. So, it's kind of fun to just see how you can get creative and brighten somebody's day during all of this.
and also support other small businesses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Russ, any final thoughts?
That was really what Kristen said was true. Someone reached out to me yesterday that I hadn't heard from in years, and it was really cool. It's been, there've been, I think there've been days where things have felt just too much, and then there are days when things feel really great. And for the most part, I've found that to a person, everybody is handling this remarkably well. And then as we get a little bit further on in this pandemic and start to feel like we can get out of this, I've just been really blown away by just the team that we have in place. And then you realize what hospitality really means to people, and to have the ability, if this is something you really like doing, if you think you want to be in the hospitality industry, to have team members that are just itching to get back to business makes me really excited for that, to be able to welcome people back in the door. That's something that we look forward to. I can't wait.
Yeah, and bring kind of what Whit said at the beginning of the question back into focus with what you just said. People are anxious and excited to get back out there and connect and get back into the office and get back into hotels, back into bars. And then also what Jason said, still write those stories right now, because people are reading them, and it's gonna all open back up, and everything is going to ramp back up in tourism in whatever the new normal is. It's inevitable. So I know we're all looking forward to that. So I wanted to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being on this panel. I am so appreciative of everybody that spent time in the call. I love seeing people that I know that I haven't spoken to or seen in months and months and months. I'm just looking through the participants, and it just warms my heart. So thank you for that. Did we cover everything? Did anybody have, I'll give you 20 seconds. If anybody has any last questions, or any of the panelists kind of want any messaging to go out, whether about your properties, or you want to pop in your Instagram handle again, and that's open to any of the participants in there. So, this is really a way to connect and use each other as resources. So thank you very much. All right, cool. Well, thanks. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say thanks to everybody. I'm a big believer in PR and earned media, and the writers out there. It's way more important than any advertising we can ever do. So thanks for all you guys do to write. Every story about North Carolina brings business and helps keep people employed in the state. So thanks to all of you guys.
And thank you for being an awesome state advocate for tourism and everything, because I know, I'll speak for myself, but it warms my heart to be a transplant to North Carolina and have such an amazing tourism office at the helm of things behind the scenes and in front of tourism and everything, doing such incredible, inspiring work. So thank you. Oh, I just love everybody so much. All right, cool. Have a good night, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.